Oh, you've got the t-shirt on.
Yes, sir.
Well, hello, everybody. Look who I have with me, Marcus Coloma, Ken Schreiner. Thank you guys for being here.
Thank you for having us.
Yes. First of all, I have to ask, how did the both of you come up with the name of your series, which I'm going to call the 2Ds for now? But you can, because I was wondering, like, are we supposed to think that, and by the way, they have this great, it was an Instagram series and season 2 is now going to be on YouTube, correct, Marcus? Is that correct?
That's correct.
So when you guys got together, how did you decide what the name of this series is going to be?
You know, it was actually improv. The first episode, it was going to be it originally was going to be called the Maltese Emmy, which was because we were on a phone call and Ken came up with the genius idea. I said I wanted to do a film noir. Ken said we should do the Maltese Emmy, which then we weren't sure if we could use the word Emmy. So then it became the award. And then on the phone call, it just seemed to kind of naturally progress that it was about these two incompetent detectives. And we came up with the word in the episode. And that's really where it came up. It happened live during the taping, you know?
Do you think this exemplifies the name of it? Like what they're like, is that what they are? Are they good guys that just are bumbling?
They are 100%. They are that word. I'm not sure if we should say the word.
You can say the word.
Okay, so they are dicks. Like, look, honestly, Ken and I are both obsessed with film noir. And so when I think we obviously are aware of the different meanings of the word, but for me personally, I sincerely think of detectives. I think they're dicks in the sense of not mean-spirited guys who are jerks, but just more the incompetent, extremely incompetent detectives. And that's kind of what I like about it. What about you, Ken?
Yeah, Ken, how did you end up with Marcus doing this? Like, how did it all go down?
Well, we were always goofing around in the dressing room with Maurice and me and Marcus shooting videos. And we had done that other thing where we had gone to a planet, thanks to Elon Musk. And so we had so much fun that we wanted to recapture it. And then we tried to figure out how to recapture it. And we thought, well, maybe Maurice's Emmy has gone missing and we'll just get on that and we'll be detectives that have been living in Florida and we'll solve this case. And then somehow it kind of spiraled into that we had more time than Maurice. So we kind of kept the two guys going like, well, we'll solve. John Lindstrom just hired us. And now, so we had a couple of cases and then we decided that we're going to kill off my agent, Marvin. So then we had a murder mystery. So it's like we kind of stumbled our way through 29 episodes. And now in season 2, we're giving it more thought and we're taking it up better. So that's why it's taking longer to do the episodes. Normally we'd have cranked out 10 by now, but now we're giving it more thought because I think we may be onto something. And it's kind of, and I'm not saying that we're getting away with anything, but I think that we couldn't have gotten away with this a couple of years ago. Just the mere word itself, the idea that we're not, that the other way people take the word, the words, we're just two private detectives trying to solve cases that we get distracted very easily because we distract ourselves because we're a little on the Columbo, sort of bumbling, but we kind of solve things eventually. You know, just one more question. So we're just, that's kind of the way we've stumbled into this whole thing. And so, as they say, don't look a gift horse in the mouth. It seems to be working. We've got actors that, you know, are chomping at the bit to be on the show. So that's good. And I say, keep going.
What I loved about on the Instagram first season is just the timing of how the camera would move and then it go to her, like to Finola, to Marcus, to Finola, and it's just those looks and moments that just the way it was done and edited and shot brings that really funny humor. So did you have a prototype of that, Marcus? Like you wanted to have it look like this?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, for years I've been studying comedy. It wasn't something, I've never played comedy. I've been up for several comedic shows, and for me, I think comedy is such a subjective thing. And for me, ultimately what it ended up at is real. I think real is very funny. And the beauty of it is whether it's Finola or Vincent, or like, we have all these great Emmy award winning actors, you know, that are terrific actors, and they play it so real. But it's an interesting reality because we're such idiots. I'm so bad to the point of speaking baby talk, thinking that that's going to potentially land me a date. And it would just be the natural reactions that would happen. It is the beauty of our situation is it's me with the phone going like flipping from, you know, different people. And you catch so many spontaneous things because you don't have to set up lights. You don't have to set up all of the things, and just capturing the truth of Finola's reactions of just confusion, but not wanting to be mean. And a little bit of, there's just so many great performances in it. I think one of the huge things we've lucked out with is the incredible cast that we have, because everybody's incredible.
It was everybody and then some was in the season. And then of course, Ken, your buddy John Stamos shows up in the finale. So how did you get him to do it? Did you say, hey?
Yeah, I kind of pitched it to him a couple of different ways, and you know, getting John to commit to anything is tough. But I think in the end, he probably looked at a couple episodes, and you know, the way Marcus flipped the phone, the comedy was in the timing of the flipping. He has a comedic flip timing because he knew exactly when to go for the joke or the reaction. Now, season 2, we're kind of getting away from that, and maybe that might not work for us, but we're going to try and do it more as if we have a master shot, close-ups, and take the budget so it looks different than that kind of thing that we caught everybody with in the first place. This kind of, you know, phonetic, like camera moves, like we were, I don't know. We just kind of made all that up. So, Stamos he's been so busy with his book that I could only get him on this way, but I think he's going to be willing to let me come to his house and shoot live. So we're looking forward to that, and maybe he'll be the finale of season 2 then, you know?
But
it worked once, do it again.
Yeah, and you guys have such an enduring friendship that lasted so many decades. Do you remember, like, did you guys hit it off right away years ago? That you've maintained this friendship that, you know, he's doing your show and all of that?
Yes, I took John under my wing when he was merely an 18-year-old kid that showed up eager, and I taught him the ropes. And he was from Orange County, and he was, you know, raw. But he had tremendous comedy. He was funny, and he kind of just was this, you know, we kind of just had fun, and then we moved to New York, and then we hung out, and then we then his career took off with Jack Klugman and then Full House. But John had an innate comedy timing, which Marcus has, which is something that they have it or they don't. And when I get around people that have a comedy timing, I'm more prone to hang around them because they make me laugh. So that gives, so John was like silly putty because he was so energetic and moldable because he didn't know really what he was doing, but he was, you know, full of life and energy. And, you know, turns out that he's far more talented than I even knew. I mean, he sings and dances. He's been on Broadway numerous times, and John's a very talented guy, but you don't know that when he's an 18-year-old kid going, so what do I do? You know? So I've watched him come to life over the last 40 years. Yes, he's done well for himself.
Done well for himself. Marcus, how did you guys, so were you both in Florida when you just like, how did you guys hook up to say, let's do this together? Like who came to who and said, here's what we should do?
I was in Florida and I was thinking about moving in Florida, and I still think about there's certain things I love about it. But what kills me and what is very much missing in Florida is the creative vibe. And so my daughter was kind of going out in school there, and I was just watching film noir after film noir. I was watching Double Indemnity and Chinatown, and I would keep in touch over the phone with Ken and Maurice. And I just called him one day. I think I did a cleaning video I was just getting bored. And so I'd be cleaning my apartment all the time. And then I did this one thing and I was like, gosh, I got to like figure something out. And I called them up and I was like, I really want to do a film noir because we had so much fun doing going to the other planet. And Ken was like right on it because like I said, it's his genre. And it all happened over a phone call. Then what was really interesting is when me and Ken started working together, because we hadn't really, like in General Hospital, for example, we maybe had one scene together, maybe, and it wasn't really much for us to work with each other. But Maurice was really busy, and me and Ken started working together. And what I was really excited about was just how incredibly easy it was to work together. And that's where I think it wasn't as planned out at all. It just happened where we enjoyed hanging out with each other so much. Ken makes me laugh a lot, and he has these great ideas. Like the way it will go is Ken will say something like, he'll come up with one idea and then I'll jump on that idea. And so we work really well together in the sense that we start out with something, but it ends up way up here. Like the Master Avery that we just put on YouTube. So happy with it. And that kind of came from Ken had, I think, the idea of we were missing. And then I was like, well, where would we be? And I was like, well, maybe we're getting trained by some sort of martial arts master in the mountains. And it just kind of evolved into this thing. And Ken told me a story about how he used to love Bruce Lee on the Green Hornet, which kind of inspired that as well. And we really, really, really are on the same page in a great way because I think we complement each other very well,
So there is a plan going into each episode.
There is a
plan. It's a loose plan,
very loose
plan.
There is a plan, because what we found is it's naturally evolved into a thing that we used to just kind of freestyle it. But when you're editing the thing, which I do a lot of times, you'll find out like, oh, wow, we can't do it like this. We need people to say certain things at certain times. And it's evolved into a very small, micro, silly, it's almost a home video, but it's also almost a full-fledged production,
So, Ken, was there a favorite part of the last season that you loved, a favorite guest star moment that you were going to burst out laughing, but didn't?
No, because the thing that I noticed more than everybody brought such a game that they had ideas. Charlie Shaughnessy came up with a whole follow the dots. We're shooting somebody tonight that's going to propel us probably into another episode, but each guest star gives us a little more hope for the next episode and the next episode. We don't have anything. We don't have a Bible like in a soap opera. They have a Bible and outlines that we chip away at. We kind of go, okay, we got Tamara Braun wants to do the show. We got, so-and-so wants to do the show. We got to work them in. What do you think? I said, oh, I got an idea. My whole theory is once we put these trench coats on, because it was really, because I was friends with Peter Falk and I used to hang out with him when he was, Colombo. And I always got such a kick out of him because he would go out at night in his trench coat. And I always thought, wow, he likes to stay in character but he's really, whether I'm sitting in the sauna with him or I'm playing basketball with him, he's always the guy in the trench coat. So I said, we need costumes. And once we donned these black trench coats, that became our characters. And once we put those on, we could get away with anything. So it's kind of like actors can build their character from inside, or you start with a costume, or you start with a phony nose, or you start with something. You start with, wouldn't it be great if you could have a little limp as well? Wouldn't that be juicy? So you try and build, yes, anything that makes it fun. So it has become nothing but fun. I don't think that while we're doing these episodes, we kind of laugh a lot too, because we're like, yeah, that would be, maybe we could do it that way now. Let's try that again. And then there's nobody telling us we got to move on. We have all the time in the world if we want, but we pretty much get it done in a half an hour.
The funniest, there was the episode with Michelle Stafford, and you were literally hitting on her, and she's like, Marcus, and you're hitting her, and you go back and forth and back, and she's looking at like you're just weirding her out, and you keep going at it, and she's like, right? What was that like to do that with Michelle?
It's so much fun. Michelle is one of my favorite people, really. She has so much life, and she's so funny. She's so game to do whatever. And yeah, that said, it is interesting flirting with somebody that you've talked to for years.
Right.
And there's something fun about doing that in a fictional world where it gives you permission to kind of go for things. And I would say I'm definitely not a guy who's good at hitting on girls. My game is very, very poor. In fact, Ken will attest to this. He'll kind of give me tips on how to talk to women. But so in that world, for me, it's really fun because I'm at least, it's kind of like, well, what if you tried this out? What if you spit out this thing? What if you said this? What if you did that? And because it's so fast and the vibes are so good, it's a lot of fun. And I'm actually surprised that we all don't laugh a little bit more, but I think ironically, we all really lock into character, and that is the reality until we stop going,
And when you played Scott in General Hospital, part of the reason it worked so well is because of the way you delivered the line and your sense of humor, and you brought that to the role. I think, don't you feel like you would do that to the role and the delivery, and moments that may not have been so maybe on the page written that way, you were able to do? Or,
well, when I think back on my 6 decades on General Hospital,
right? 6, amazing, right?
Absolutely.
Well, I mean, I started in the 70s. I've been Scotty 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000, 210, 220. And the thing that the Scotty Baldwin character is, he doesn't miss a trend. He was always trying to keep reinvent. You have to reinvent the character about every couple of years. Sometimes you got to leave. Sometimes you got to, or look at now, for example, here I am. I'm on top of the homeless trend in LA. And that's the way I look right now. See, I don't miss a trend. Nor did Scotty Baldwin. He started with, and every trend that he had, he pretty much stole from the movies. The original guy that I created, Scotty Baldwin, wore a Robert Redford peacoat from 3 Days of the Condor. I knew that that's the look I wanted. And I told the wardrobe guy, can you get me the peacoat? Then it became, can you get me the yellow suit? Can you get me, the leather jacket? Now, can you get me the suits? I want to have pocket squares. So I only think that as an actor, you could only control your costume, and then you try and play the scene to your best ability. And if your rhythm is that of the way you are, so be it. Half of my 3/4, 90% of everything I do is based on movies I've watched, because that's where actors they see something and they go, wow. I turn the TV, I stop all the time and listen to a speech. I memorize it, then I do my version of it. And some people think what's he doing in the other room? He seems like he's talking to himself. No, he's just practicing speeches. He said, oh, let me do the Robert Shaw monologue from Jaws. And then I find it to be like a hobby. People said, you need to get a hobby, Ken. I said, I have a hobby. I watch old movies. I don't have to play golf, So that's.
Well, what about when he was? What about when he was bad? When Scotty was the villain? Did you have a prototype for that? Like, was there a film like when he was the bad guy?
Yeah, it was kind of, I got lucky because when they threw Scotty in jail at that time, they played the song from The Who. No one knows what it's like to be the bad man, the sad man behind blue eyes. So Scotty Baldwin was never a bad guy. His life got altered drastically by a guy that raped his wife. So that put him into motion as, if my wife can run off with a rapist, I don't give a shit about anything. So I'm going to cause as much trouble as I can. It wasn't a proto-vet, because most bad guys on soap operas are villains. Scotty wasn't a villain. He was a good guy that went bad because of circumstances. So,
Marcus, did you ever see any of this old footage of Ken back in the day? It's pretty amazing.
It's
Thank you.
incredible.
Thank you.
Yes,
Yes,
I've recently gone down because I was especially curious about, because John was on the show, I was curious about Scotty and Blackie, right? So I watched a couple of those scenes. I watched Scotty Baldwin with I can't remember. It was
it's too much. Marcus, when we have nothing to do, we'll sit down and watch it.
But I had watched.
Yeah. So now that you've got the first episode on YouTube, which is with Avery Pohl, when do you think you'll have the next episode? And are you planning on doing a set time a week? Is it just going to be whenever, or kind of, do you know what your plan is for the second season?
I would love to have it post Monday mornings, because I find that the weekends aren't the best, but I don't know. I'm super new to YouTube. Instagram, I feel like I've been obsessed with for about 3 years. So I don't know the patterns of YouTube, but ideally, yeah, we're posting regularly once we find when the best time to post is, at least once a week. It's shifted for me. Before, this was kind of just a fun thing, and now it's turned into, I have an idea for a movie, a horror film that Ken and I came up with that takes place in the daytime world. And so now we're stepping into a realm of, we love the series, The Two Dicks. It's so much fun. We're going to continue doing that. I want to actually start doing a vampire series with Ken as well. But then also on top of that, I want to be honing our craft and our skills, because there's this horror film that would be it would be a fun horror film. It wouldn't be like The Exorcist. It'd be a little bit more campy, but real. And so right now it's kind of like research and development phase, I would say. But it is going to be on, hypothetically, Monday mornings, unless we find out that's the worst time.
The worst time to do it. So I thought Ken?
Yeah.
You said, I thought you said, I was going to ask Marcus, the last time I talked to you on a YouTube on my channel was literally after Nikolas slept with Esme. And now you've got Avery as the master, Avery. So what do you recall about that, and now having her work with you again now?
That was a very interesting time, because I love working with Avery. She's just a great actress. She's super professional. She's also a really fun person to just hang out with. And so sleeping with Esme was very stressful, because for so long I had set up this strong relationship with my son, and then this popped in, and it was like, well, you're going to sleep with Esme, and it would really stress me out, to be honest, because I would try to play it as real as I possibly could, and I would try to justify how I would get to that place. And on top of that, in real life, I'm 44 and Avery is 21, and I was like, God, I'm going to make out with this kid, and I was stressed about it. At the same time, I really enjoy working with her. And so, because the way General Hospital works is if you don't have a scene with someone, you might as well be on a different show. You're not seeing these people. And so the fortunate thing of working with somebody, even regardless of how much you might struggle with the storyline, in real life, it's nice because you get to hang out with that person. And so, like, especially when Esme and Nikolas were doing the tower stuff, me and Avery got to hang out a lot, and we had a lot of fun. And so I was very, very tentative to ask anyone to do the two dicks because I just didn't know how they would feel about it. But she had done an event with John Lindstrom, and John Lindstrom was talking about the dicks, and she was like, "What's the two dicks?" And he was like, "You don't know what the two dicks are." And then she saw him, and then she got really excited about it, and she wanted to do it. And my favorite thing about this series is I like to take actors who live in a space where they're very much told what to do, and this is what you can do, this is what you can't do, and they're kind of sometimes treated like furniture. I wanted to give them a space where they're very valued. And what I love is I'll see these actors really come to life in this silly little show. And going on right now with everything that's going on, and they might be a little bit bummed out because of what's going on. They do this show and they leave very fulfilled artistically. And it's something that I'm making a dime for. But to me, it's reminiscent of when I was 19 years old and I got to Hollywood, and it was just about doing a scene in a class. And it didn't matter. Nothing else mattered except those moments when you were on stage and you got to do this thing that you've been chasing. And that's what I love about this. And the fact that I got to do that with Avery, who I love working with, it was a real pleasure.
I mean, she's a really good actress at such a young age. That's the thing. She's really
unbelievable. I mean, and what she brought as Master Avery was so great and unique and philosophical and wise, but also we saw a little bit of the irritated youth. You know what I mean? The fact that when I grabbed this, I'm such a big fan of hers, and I think she's an incredible actress.
And, so many people want to see you in other roles. And I know there's SAG-AFTRA strike is going on. So this is like the worst time to be talking about that. Do you think you would like to do other kinds of roles now that it's been, 6 decades of Scotty and now moving on? What kind of parts would you love to still do? Is there kind of a show you'd like to do?
I would love to get on some sort of a crime thriller Netflix period piece. I live on the Turner Classic Movie Channel, so I kind of live in the past, but always looking forward, as they say. Because yes, there's plenty of stuff I'd like to do, but right now, I feel like the Scotty Baldwin character's been put in the closet for a while, and my guy in the trench coat is my new guy, and I'm having more fun being Dick 1 or Dick 2. I'm not sure which one is which yet. We haven't decided who's the Dick 1 or Dick 2, but I'd like being either one of those guys because we're having so much fun to I was so impressed with Avery because she was just so good in that stuff. I was looking at her and I'd never acted with her before. And she had such life in her eyes, and I was so taken on that Mulholland Hill we shot that I almost forgot my own name, because I was just like, this girl's really good. So it was fun to watch these actors. Vincent, he was really good. He just came in with such game to him.
Vincent Arizari.
Arizari. Yes, he blew me away too because he was right on the money, and so was everybody. So we haven't had. That's why we keep thinking that each one gets better and better, and we're just expanding to different actors. But we have repeated actors too. I mean, of course, we're going to go back, and we got John Lindstrom is always fun. Finola, Michelle, any of them. Carolyn. So we're on the what?
The Carolyn thing was funny too. I remember the Carolyn episode.
Yeah, she said, I'm going to come in upside down wearing a mask.
Upside down in the trapeze because
and I said, why is she wearing a mask? And we didn't know why. It was their choice, but it was funny at the time because, anyway, that's the fun of it. Was I had told Marcus and Maurice when I was a while back, and I said, nobody remembers Abbott and Costello. They remember the Three Stooges. So we all three need to do something. Then we couldn't pin Maurice down, so we ended up being Abbott and Costello, or Martin and Lewis, or Laurel and Hardy. You can work as a 2-person team, but sometimes like the Three Stooges, they are. You can ask a kid today who's the Three Stooges, and they know. You ask a kid who's Laurel and Hardy, Abbott and Costello, no clue. So
somebody in our live chat says Avery reminds me of a young Robin Matson when she first started as Heather in the 80s. Very intense and focused. Would you agree with that, Ken?
Absolutely, because I spoke to Robin Saturday, and you're funny that you say that, because when I was looking at her, what the hell? I said that this girl is exactly Robin, a young Robin, fiery, spunky, energy. Okay. Yeah, did I go away? No, yeah, you're right. She did remind me of Robin because she had it all going on. You're right. It did dawn on me, and now it dawns on me even more.
So we've got some people, Ken, I just want to address this. Scotty's been on and off Jade for years. He'll be back. You're the legend. Scotty is the best. I've got so many people saying you're a legend, you're a legend, you're a legend. So Scotty's come back before. But even if he didn't, you're one of the most iconic characters ever to be on a soap. Don't you think that's an amazing thing to carry with you? Even though they may have stupidly written him in and out. I can say that.
Yeah. I don't know what to tell you about that. And I am going to turn back up like a bad penny, and hopefully it's going to be fun. I don't know anymore. My focus went from him over to this guy in a black trench coat having fun. So I haven't really thought about Scotty Baldwin. He's in the closet right now. Yes, but
Marcus,
I'm sure.
Yeah. Yep. You'll see. Marcus, one of the other things that I got the biggest kick out of, I literally was sitting here, like, I think I had this and I did spit out the water, was when you did the cooking show with your daughter. You're doing the cooking and you're like trying to do, here's the 2 breasts, and then you're doing this and trying to do it. And the way it's edited, and you're like this bad cooking.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Was that for your daughter you're doing that, or did you come up with it, or is it just like a mistake that's so funny?
All of the above. So, my daughter, who is 14, it's really hard to get in touch with a teenager, and I found the most successful thing is you got to find what they're interested in. And at that time, she was really interested into baking shows. And so I was like, I'm not a great cook. I'm in Florida and I don't have a ton of friends out here. And so that's how that kind of came around, is I was like, hey, let's do a baking show. And I'm very fortunate in that my daughter is such a sweet, incredible kid. And even though she'll try to be that disinterested teenager, I can still get laughs out of her. And so I think I'm always kind of performing a little bit. And I know that, like, when you're a teenager, bad words, private parts of a man or a woman, you're going to guaranteed get a laugh from a teenager, because it's kind of taboo to say those things. And so it was all a bit accidental. It was all very real. I was legitimately making that and forgetting to do the things because I'm not a great cook. But at the time I was a single dad and I was cooking my kid dinner. And so it was all of those things that you said. It was planned to be funny, but it was also just really what was happening,
So you guys have a weekend ahead for the fans coming up here. So Saturday, we've got the Hollywood murder mystery with the 2 dicks. And I understand there's a murder mystery within the fan event. So they can come and have like lunch or a meal, and then they meet and greet with you guys, and then there's this murder mystery. What can you tell everybody about the murder mystery? What's supposedly going to go down?
Well, I could say that, you know, this is very exciting because this started out, as cliche as this sounds, as a little dream that we could, because we're shooting this for fun. It's all fun, but because it's so fun, I wanted to keep going. But I was like, how can we keep this going? And how could we interact with the audience? Because that's what I love about social media that you do not get on TV, right? And so I really wanted to do a murder mystery because I think that's something that hopefully, if there is an audience, that's something we could take on the road and kind of develop this. Now, Madi, VIP Moments Created, who kind of does a lot of my events, if not all of them, she came up with a spin on it. So this one's going to be very unique and specific to hers, in that the fans are actually going to create a mystery, a murder mystery that the two dicks are going to have to come in and try to solve.
So you'll be your characters, or Marcus and Ken?
They'll be our characters, which are very close to Marcus and Ken.
Very close to Marcus and Ken.
Not that close. Close enough.
It's a great line.
Okay.
Yeah. And so we'll have to kind of, I think people are going to have cards and they're going to have characters and they're going to have little dialogue, and we're going to have to we're going to have to do an investigation, and hopefully we're going to find out who committed the murder.
Oh my God. This ought to be funny. And they're going to, and don't
So
they,
much fun.
yeah. Yeah. Now, then later that day at 5, aren't we going, people can go chill with Marcus? You're going to be performing, or do I have that?
This is correct. This is correct. So basically, I have kind of it's been pretty cool. I got to tell you, I really will always be grateful to General Hospital because, and I've said this a million times, my favorite thing about General Hospital is the fans. And there's nothing like, well, it's like Ken, he's been on the show for 60 years. Like before General Hospital, before daytime, to me, if somebody had a show for 4 years, I was very impressed. If they had a show that was on TV for 4 years, you would kind of consider it a success. So 60 years is incredible. And with that comes the most loyal fans that I've ever seen. And on top of that, there's become this really core group that we'll do events for. And I'm going to do a live performance Saturday night after the murder mystery. And then on Sunday, we're going to do a walk around Hollywood. We're going to go out to brunch. And then we're actually going to film an episode. We came up with a really funny storyline because this group is about 7 women, and they're gonna have a history with Dick Schreiner that we're gonna record. They're all gonna get a little bit of a part in this episode. So I'm really excited about this weekend. It's gonna be a blast.
And people can get tickets at marcuscoloma.com. Where do people go?
That's correct. So yeah, marcuscoloma.com is where you could get tickets. Marcus Coloma World on Instagram is also that's Marisol, and she can help anybody get tickets as well. But yeah, marcuscoloma.com, and the shops tab is where you could officially get tickets.
Ken, do you like meeting the fans, or do you have fun with them, or what?
I do. I did an event with Lynn Herring a couple weeks ago, and we had a riot because, Lynn is always fun because she's, has a very good sense of humor. And we had a lot of fun. We had the fans were, they love to come. They love to talk. They love to kibitz. They love to, it's kind of like hanging out. It's not like a fan event, like
right.
Next in line. They're in the room. They're in the room, and you're with them for 3 hours, talking, and they're sitting with you and they're discussing, it's just like hanging out with a bunch of people that like you, it's
It's a great point, because our fans specifically, I don't know, they're just such great people. It really is like that. I know exactly what you're saying. It's very much like kind of hanging out with some friends. It's nice.
Because you're such a funny guy, Marcus, was playing Nikolas difficult because he wasn't really a fun guy in any
Yeah,
way? Or did
that's
you like, you know what I mean? Because you're the opposite, kind of just your whole self. So was it difficult then to do that, or just not?
It was extremely difficult. It is 100% opposite of who I am as a real person. But the whole reason why I wanted to do daytime, until I got into it and I got to learn and I got to see how much talent there is. I think the actors in daytime, there's some incredible talent. And I've told Ken this a million times. I think he could be a movie star. I think he's got so much charisma and he's so funny. Yeah, I believe it. But yes, it was very hard, very challenging. The reason why I did it though was a boot camp for acting. I still would get nervous on sets. I really dreaded table reads, which you don't do table reads in a soap opera, but I was like, even though I'd work a lot, everything is relatively fast and you don't get to be on a set like General Hospital or any daytime like daytime where you're working 5 days a week and you're shooting 9 episodes a week. It's just, there's nothing like it. And I really, but it was very hard. It was physically traumatizing. I know that sounds dramatic, and I hate saying that because it's such a fun thing to do, acting, but there would be many nights where I wasn't sleeping and I'm not complaining because that's part of the fun of it. That's part of the fun of being an artist, is exploring these different emotions and these different things. But I remember like Maurice telling me when he had a break a couple of weeks in, I totally understood it. And I was like, I can totally see how if there was just anything that were a little bit more stressful at this time, how you could just kind of snap, very challenging, very rewarding. I really enjoyed it.
Were you sad? Let me ask you this. Were you sad when it was, time was up, your time was up? Or were you like, how did you feel about it? Because we never really knew how I know there's articles and I know things, and you and I've talked before, and I just was like, oh, I wonder how you look on it now. You're a bit away from it now.
Yeah, no, it's a good point. I mean, look, this is what was funny. The journey was this. When I first started, I was like to my teams, I mean, it even goes back further. Like there had been a time where I was offered a role. I turned it down. Mark had called and I was like, I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think so. So it was always kind of a no. I was finally like, okay, but 3 years, that's it. Like, I'm not going to get, but it really turned into that thing where you go on a date and you fall in love with the girl. Like by the end of the 3 years, you fall in love with your castmates, you fall in love with the character, you fall in love with a lot of things about it, the fans. And I was surprisingly very sad when I found out that it was going to end. I wasn't sad like, I think we should make this thing work, but it was like, I agree. I don't think this relationship should continue, but I'm really sad about it. Now I'm very happy because in this silly show, The Two Dicks, I have found my happy place. And my happy place is similar to Ken, and I think this is why we play so well together, is live in movies. We both are obsessed with movies. We talk about old movies that nobody else is talking about and nobody else cares about, but me and him are just obsessed with. And it's so satisfying artistically to just say, hey, let's do our version of 3 Days of the Condor, or it's just, this to me creatively is so much more fulfilling. And I want to do this vampire show and I want to do this horror film. And I miss the fun of it. And the beauty of working professionally is you get the exposure, and there's something very fun about that. And I want to continue working professionally as an actor, but in a time where you're not really allowed to work. I'm so grateful that we have this thing that it really is my passion. It's what I think about all the time. I see Ken we're probably best friends at this point. I see him literally every day and we just kind of talk about movies, and then that inspires an idea to shoot something. and we shoot something, and it's a really fun life.
And do you have a wish list? If you could have anybody on your guys' show, who's on your wish list to be on the show? Do you guys have a list? Should we put it
well,
there to anybody that?
Well, I would say my girlfriend over here, Trish the Dish, but she's already been on.
Trish! Hi, Trish. Well, don't we have to have Trish on the show?
We had Trish on the show. She was Trixie.
right.
our
Oh, that's
sec- our
right.
secretary. And yes, she's been dying for us to use her again, but
Oh, then we're dying to use her again. She's so talented. I was so happy. She killed it in her General Hospital scene. I was blown away by that. And she killed it on our show. I was so surprised because she just whipped out this character called Trixie. That was incredible.
Trixie. So Ken, who else would you want? Who do you guys want to have on? Like, who's your
well,
wish?
I'll tell you who I've got him. And he's already shot something, is my buddy Anders Hove, the great César Faison. And I'm trying to get the great Tony Geary, but I can't seem to, I don't think I'm connecting. I think he's gone off the grid that, he's in Amsterdam. And so they're so far ahead, and I'm not sure if he really checks emails anymore. So I may have to resort to another way, but I'd love to get Tony, and I've already got Anders, and we've got
People are asking about Jeannie. Do you think Jeannie would ever do it with you?
I'd have to twist her arm. I'd have to blackmail her. I don't know. If I got her at the right time and said, Jeannie, I'd have better chances getting her husband, Jonathan.
Gotcha.
Hey, he's Star Trek. That
He's
would be
Star
great.
Trek. Yeah.
Star Trek. We bring in the Trekkies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love Anders Hove. He's amazing. Amazing.
Yeah, he's actually doing a movie as we speak in Copenhagen, and he did film some stuff for us, and so he's going to be in it. And boy, our list just gets our wish list. I love that we got to get Tamara Braun, and I love that we've got Perry Shen, and we've got I don't know. We keep putting that dragnet out, and then we keep. Now, do we want to expand out of daytime and get, would we like Brad Pitt? What's he doing these days? Would it be so bad we had Brad Pitt on an episode? No.
I just don't know if he's right for the show, though. I don't know if he works for our thing, but maybe we'll talk about it.
Yeah, we get Brad Pitt, or we get,
Marcus, do you have some people you'd love to have on? Who's on your wish list?
Oh gosh, I mean, it's such a great question. Obviously anybody from daytime, I would take anybody. I do think it would be fun to branch out. I guess I don't necessarily have anyone on the wish list because I'm so happy with everyone we get. And Ken tends to be the genius behind getting in touch with people, because he's just so he'll be like, hey, I got Vincent. And then I meet Vincent. I'm like, this guy is one of the best actors I've worked with,
Isn't Vincent, by the way, going to be at your event tomorrow?
Vincent's going to be there tomorrow. I was really excited to work with Ian Buchanan. I loved his accent. I thought that was cool. To me, it's so fun because Ken will be like, oh yeah, this guy's in, this person's in, that person's in. And I'm just thrilled. So I actually haven't had a chance to even think about a wish list because
the fans have a wish. I'll tell you what they're saying. I'm just going to tell you. You've got, and of course, I know from being a journalist how hard these kids. So they've got Mark West, Roger Howarth, Billy Miller, Laura Wright, Steve Burton, Trevor St. John. There you go. Go get all those.
Okay, so I got it. I think I got all those names. Ken, you got them?
I'd say nothing but trouble. They're all nothing but trouble.
Nothing but trouble. I was like, oh my God. Yeah. Perry's funny though. He'll be good.
I would happily take any of those actors. If any of them wanted to do it, it's a very open door.
Okay. All right, guys. Well, so big event this weekend. We've got, would you go to marcuscoloma.com, right, Marcus, to get tickets? Right? To look for tickets. Smokehouse tomorrow, Saturday. And then the chill with Marcus afterwards, which you're gonna sing.
Yep.
What are you gonna sing? You're gonna give us one song. You're gonna.
You know, my concerts are really funny, and luckily it's a core group, but I'll usually make it about halfway through a song, make a mistake, we'll all share a laugh. And what it usually ends up happening is people just come up on the stage and they sing with me. It's very loose, it's very relaxed, it's more of a hang. I'll talk about my childhood and different songs and their meaning, and it's just, I don't know. I thought about changing it up, but people said they actually like that vibe because they like the intimacy of it and the hang. It's like hanging out, you know?
And then Sunday, we've got the brunch, the walking tour, and you're shooting the show, right?
This is correct. This is correct.
All right. And then we can look forward to more episodes of the 2Ds on Marcus's YouTube channel. And you can follow the first season on Marcus's Instagram. Correct. And so I think we've covered all that. And you know, we miss seeing you guys, but this is really great that you're doing this and working together. And I hope this is an ongoing collaboration that you guys continue to enjoy and have fun with, because it's pretty fun right
Yeah,
now.
we do have
Well,
a heist film we've been
ahead,
talking
Ken.
about that Marcus is excited about, that was something that I concocted way back when I was a kid. And I think I'd like to get that on the table someday too with our, I think Marcus was keen on that idea too, about the heist in Westwood. Box office withdrawal is what it's called.
We have so many
Box
ideas.
office withdrawal.
I love this idea. It's a great idea, and I want to do it. We're going to definitely keep collaborating together. I mean, when you kind of find somebody who's as wild as you are, it's a rare thing. And yeah, we have no plans of stopping. And Michael, I just wanted to say thanks so much for having us on, because this thing is so much fun for us. And the fact that you took the time out for this it really means a lot to us, and we appreciate the support. Thank you.
Of course. It's been really fun to watch, and I wish you the best of luck with it. And it's great seeing you guys too. You know,
Yeah.
We hope we'll see you. Are you going to be there? on Saturday?
I'm gonna try to be there on Saturday, at least a part of it if I can, for sure.
Okay. All right.
All
Thanks.
right.
So much.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. Have a great night. Thanks
Okay.
everybody in the chat room for coming by and
Thanks
hanging
everyone
with
for coming and watching. We appreciate